Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're stepping into a really chilling story. It's one that seriously blurs the lines between, online fantasy and real-world horror. We're talking about Channel Potter, a young woman, incredibly sheltered upbringing, and how that collided with, well, the harsh reality of social media. It led to this tragic spiral, a shocking double murder, all planned out from behind a screen. This isn't just about the crime, it's a really stark look at manipulation and the terrifying lengths people go to protect a reality they've just made up.
Exactly. And what's so important here, I think, is how it shows these seemingly small online fights can just explode, especially when you have these deep psychological issues and real relationships all tangled up together. We're going to look at those specific moments where Channel's fabricated online world became terrifyingly real and how it pulled her whole family into this awful vortex of lies and violence.
Okay, so let's start with the family at the center of it all, the Potters. You've got Marvin Buddy Potter. He's a former Marine, had some CIA background apparently. Retired, though, because of age and some pretty severe health problems. Back injuries, needed a wheelchair, oxygen, the whole deal. Then there's his wife, Barbara, and their two daughters, Christy and Channel. Now, in 2003, they moved to Mountain City, Tennessee.
Right. And Mountain City sounds like, a very serene, close-knit kind of place. Local church is the hub. Everybody knows everybody. Supposedly very safe.
Yeah, exactly. And shortly after they moved, the older daughter, Christy, she moved out, lived with her grandmother. So that left Buddy, Barbara, and the younger daughter, Channel, there in Mountain City. Channel was 22 then, but living this incredibly sheltered life, really shy, lacked confidence, didn't socialize much, mainly because her parents were just extremely overprotective. They checked out all her potential friends, kept her very, very isolated.
And this is... Well, it's critical for understanding what happened next, isn't it? You have to ask, what does that kind of intense parental control do to an adult child? Channel also had type 1 diabetes, needed constant care, but they treated her like a child, well into her 20s, buying her dolls, talking to her like she was 8. They wouldn't even let her drive, afraid her blood sugar might fluctuate.
Wow.
Yeah. Even her older sister, Christy, apparently warned them, called their parenting overactive.
So basically, Channel's world was just her home and the local pharmacy for her meds. That kind of extreme isolation, well, it's bound to push someone towards something else. In her case, the online world. So flash forward to 2009, Channel's 28 now, and she makes this rare connection with Tracy Kinville, a local pharmacist. Tracy, maybe feeling a bit sorry for how lonely Channel seemed, befriended her, took her to a few social things, and eventually introduced Channel to her brother, Billy Claypane. He worked at a textile factory, described as handsome, funny, and Channel fell for him. Hard. But here's the first major snag. Billy was already seeing someone. Billie Jean Hayworth. Described as beautiful, seemed like a perfect match for him. They started dating in 2010, got married, and then, July 2011, they had a son. Channel was just completely heartbroken.
You can imagine.
So Tracy then introduces Channel to another relative, her cousin, Jimmy Kerr. He's 35, single, worked for a computer company. Jimmy was also sociable, fun, like Billy. They start up a relationship, but it had to be secret. Remember, her parents didn't approve of boyfriends.
And the way Channel managed this secret relationship, it's quite revealing. She can only call Jimmy for like 30, 45 seconds at a time. Just quick chats so her parents wouldn't get suspicious. She even pretended her computer was broken several times just so Jimmy would have an excuse to come over. That way they could talk in the computer room without her parents figuring out it was basically a date.
Wow, the level of planning.
Right. And then Jimmy gets her a burner phone. She hides in the bushes outside, sneaks out at night to use it after her mom found the first phone she wasn't supposed to have. They were even starting to talk about eloping. Jimmy was planning to buy her an engagement ring. This pattern of deception, it was, well, clearly developing out of this restricted environment.
And alongside these secret meetups, she's also on Facebook, under strict parental watch. Still, she connected with a few people she knew. Tracy, Billy, Billie Jean, Jimmy. And on Facebook, she's posting these cryptic updates about a dream man.
Yeah.
Clearly, painfully, about Billy.
Yeah, and this is where the online world really starts to pour gasoline on the fire. Billie Jean, Billy's wife, she's friends with Channel on Facebook. She sees these posts. And she gets angry, understandably. Maybe it starts with subtle digs, online jabs at Channel, but it escalates fast. By January 1st, 2011, it's a full-blown online war. Vicious insults back and forth. Billie Jean's friends jump in, attacking Channel too.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
It was. The stress actually caused Channel's blood sugar to spike so badly she ended up hospitalized. Her ways of coping, they just weren't working anymore. And this feeling of being attacked, it was becoming overwhelming for her.
So right in the middle of all this online fighting, this escalating drama, another player enters the scene, a really crucial one, Chris.
Ah, yes, Chris.
Channel described Chris as this childhood friend from back in Pennsylvania, a neighbor, like an older brother figure. She even had this strange detail, claimed they were born just 1 minute apart, same day, month, year. And she introduces Chris to Jimmy, her secret boyfriend, through email. Says it's time he met her close confidant.
And the persona Chris takes on is, well, it's fascinating and ultimately terrifying. In emails to Jimmy, Chris claims to be CIA. Can't reveal his real identity, obviously. That's why he uses Channel's email, avoids phone calls, has a supposed phobia of phones, prefers writing. Channel even shows Jimmy a Facebook profile for Chris. It has a picture of some guy.
So Chris isn't just a friend. He's positioned as this authority figure, CIA, someone you wouldn't question.
It's exactly. Strategically crafted. Designed to command respect, bypass any suspicion Jimmy might have had.
And Chris immediately becomes Channel's online defender, her champion. He jumps into the Facebook arguments, defends her against Billie Jean and her friends, comments on posts, starts making threats, drastic action against anyone bothering Channel. And when Channel and Jimmy argued, Chris would even mediate, emailing Jimmy advice on how to fix things with Channel.
And Jimmy has absolutely no idea who Chris really is. He's being manipulated, drawn deeper into this web.
Which brings us to January 31st, 2012. The morning started normally enough. Billy's coworker, Brad Osborne, shows up at Billy's house to carpool, like they always did, finds the back door open, assumes Billy already left for the factory, so he just goes on alone. Then later, around 10 a.m., Billy's neighbor, Roy Stephen, comes by. Billy was holding a letter for him. Roy notices both Billy's and Billie Jean's cars are still there. House is eerily quiet. He sees the same open back sliding door, goes in, calls out for them, Billy, Billie Jean, and what he finds, it's just horrific. In the bedroom, Billy's dead. On the bed, shot in the neck, blood everywhere.
Oh, cool.
Roy panics, calls his wife Linda, tells her to call 911, she's CPR trained. While Linda's on the phone, Roy hears something, a faint cry, from another room. He follows the sound and finds Billie Jean. On the floor, she's holding their baby, their 7-month-old son. She's been shot in the head, no blood. Just the sound of the baby crying in that awful silence.
That's the point, isn't it? Where the online hate, the deception, just brutally crashes into reality. Finding the victims like that, especially the infant there, it just highlights the absolute coldness of it, the severity. It's unthinkable. No going back after that.
Police arrive quickly, of course, secure the scene, double homicide. And as they start talking to people, friends, acquaintances, one name keeps coming up as the source of conflict. Channel Potter's family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not surprising given the online feud.
So Channel and her mother, Barbara, are brought in for questioning. Both absolutely deny any involvement, vehemently. Channel repeats her claims Billie Jean was jealous, threatened her, bullied her online and off, said Billie Jean threatened to cut off her head. Barbara actually admits something chilling, says she wished death on Billie Jean and the baby, said they hated her daughter. She also claims Channel was threatened with beheading, rape, that the stress put Channel in the hospital multiple times, but both insist they knew nothing about the murders themselves. Okay, so next, police talk to Jimmy Kerr, Channel's secret boyfriend. At first, he denies any romance. Just friends, he says. He's a relative of Billy's. But then he asks this really weird question. Asks if the police department has any CIA people working there.
Bingo. That's the red flag.
Huge red flag for the investigators.
Yeah. That one odd question just hints at this whole other layer, this deeper, complex deception going on. It clearly wasn't just a simple feud anymore. There was something else, something orchestrated.
So they bring Jimmy in for a longer interrogation, 6 hours. He fails a polygraph test, and eventually he breaks. He confesses the unbelievable truth. The killer, he says, was Marvin Buddy Potter, Channel's father.
The polygraph probably just showed his general distress and maybe his lies about the nature of his relationship with Channel. But confessing Buddy did it, that must have been immense pressure.
Police were skeptical. I mean, Buddy, retired, sick, needs a wheelchair, oxygen. He doesn't seem like a likely killer. But Jimmy keeps talking. He brings up Chris, the CIA agent. Jimmy says Chris was the mastermind. Chris directed Buddy to do it.
So Jimmy shifting blame, using the Chris story as his explanation. I was just following orders from the CIA guy.
The police are understandably completely confused by now. The CIA angle is bizarre. They asked Jimmy to call Buddy while they record the call. And during that call, Buddy just chillingly recounts the shooting, the details. So February 7th, 2012, police arrest Buddy Potter. They search his house, find a printed email, supposedly from Chris, the CIA guy. It has photos of Billy and Billie Jean, basically a hit list for Buddy.
A physical piece of the manipulation.
Then Buddy gives a full confession, says all this nonsense, the threats against Channel made him do it. He repeats the claims, threats to cut off Channel's head, rape her. And he says, quote, I could not stand to have my daughter harmed because she's a good person and still a virgin. He genuinely believed he was protecting his family. Kill them before they could harm his family.
It's an extreme manifestation of that protective instinct, isn't it? Twisted by the manipulation. You mentioned his background, Marine, CIA. That sense of duty, protector role. Then add his physical decline, feeling perhaps helpless.
Yeah.
The idea of protecting his virgin daughter from this perceived threat, however fake, it could give him this terrifying sense of purpose, of agency that maybe he felt he'd lost. And Channel, consciously or not, just expertly played on all those vulnerabilities.
Right. Barbara, his wife, tried to argue his confession wasn't valid. Claimed the police took him without his oxygen, his meds. Said he was confused.
Trying to salvage the situation, perhaps maintain the illusion.
But the physical evidence against Buddy was overwhelming. They found 60 guns in his house, including a .38 caliber shotgun, ammunition too. The bullets matched the ones used in the murders. And get this, 10 knives hidden strategically around the house, like he was constantly expecting an attack.
Wow. That speaks to a level of paranoia, maybe fueled by the threats relayed by Channel Chris.
So Buddy Potter was charged, 2 counts of first-degree murder. But with Buddy confessing and this whole Chris story, the focus had to shift. Who was Chris? Police traced the IP address from those Chris emails, and the discovery is just staggering. The emails came from Channel Potter's home computer.
And there it is, the architect revealed. Chris never existed. Channel was Chris. All along, she created the whole thing, the persona, the fake Facebook profile. She even used a photo of a real police officer she knew from high school, Chris Harden. She orchestrated the manipulation of her parents, of Jimmy, used Chris to fight her battles online, make threats, and ultimately to order the murders of Billy and Billie Jean.
It's chilling, the level of calculation.
It really speaks to her intelligence in a twisted way, and this pathological need for control, for validation, likely born from that extreme isolation and lack of real-world agency.
So the police pieced together the full timeline of the murder day, showing Channel's direct involvement. January 30th, the day before. Channel, pretending to be Chris, emails her parents, says Billy and Billie Jean are plotting to kill Channel and Barbara, includes their photos as targets. Buddy and Barbara completely believe it's the real Chris. The email also tells Buddy to contact Jimmy to get directions to Billy's house.
Setting all the pieces in motion.
Then, the morning of January 31st, Buddy picks up Jimmy, drives to Billy's house, parks nearby. Buddy tells Jimmy, wait here or come with me. Jimmy follows him to the back door. Buddy hands Jimmy a gun. Jimmy takes it. He later claims he thought Buddy just wanted to scare them.
Plausible deniability. Or genuine ignorance of the final intent. Hard to say for sure.
Jimmy waits by the door. Buddy goes into the bedroom. Jimmy hears Billy yell, what is this? Then Billie Jean runs out, holding the baby. Jimmy hears a gunshot from the bedroom. Buddy comes out, asks where Billie Jean went. Jimmy points. Buddy goes after her. Then Jimmy hears Billie Jean scream, another gunshot! Jimmy just bolts, runs back to Buddy's car with the gun. Buddy comes back soon after, tells Jimmy, keep quiet, drives home.
And Jimmy's trapped.
Yeah.
Accessory after the fact, at the very least, holding the weapon, present at the scene.
Later that same day, Buddy tells Channel, mission accomplished. And Channel, still playing Chris, emails Jimmy, thanks him for his help, says the mission to protect Channel was done.
Closing the loop. Maintaining the facade, even with her accomplice.
So August 2012, Channel and Barbara are finally arrested for their roles in the murders. October 2012, Buddy is found guilty, 2 counts, first-degree murder, gets 2 consecutive life sentences.
And Jimmy Kerr. Despite claiming he didn't know Buddy would kill them, he's found guilty too. As an accomplice. Those emails with Chris, being there, holding the gun. It was enough. He got 25 years. But eligible for parole sooner. Maybe 8 years, because he cooperated. Still, his life irrevocably changed.
The trial for Channel and Barbara was long, drawn out. 7 trials, apparently. But finally, July 2015, they both get sentenced. 2 consecutive life sentences, just like Buddy. Even then, they insisted they were innocent, denied everything. But the evidence was there. The police proved Channel's Chris deception. Barbara's email showed she encouraged Chris to plan it.
And Buddy Potter. To this day, he still believes Chris is real. A real CIA agent. Still believes his wife and daughter are innocent victims in all this. The real Chris Harden, the cop whose photo Channel stole, he testified. confirmed he had nothing to do with it, just a random connection from high school. That level of delusion Buddy maintains, it's a profound psychological impact of Channel's sustained manipulation.
Meanwhile, the families of Billy and Billie Jean are left with unimaginable grief. Billy's mother, Sherry Gallant, spoke about it. Just raw pain, anger, how their lives are just shattered forever. And that baby boy found in his mother's arms, he's being raised by Billy's mother now, orphaned by this horrific act.
It's just devastating.
Yeah.
This case is such a stark warning, isn't it? About resentment left to fester, about the dangers of online deception when it's crafted so meticulously, and about that extreme parental influence, how it can be warped and exploited. It really shows the complex psychology of someone creating this whole other reality to deal with their hurt, leading to just irreversible tragedy.
Channel and Barbara are serving their sentences now. 2 life terms. Potential parole way off 2072. Buddy, given his age, his parole eligibility is 2132. Basically never getting out. It's a truly chilling story. Manipulation, these online masks, and the terrible cost of a deeply troubled mind. Makes you really think about those lines between virtual life and real life, doesn't it? And the shocking power one person's lies can have. What really stands out to you looking back at all this?
For me, it forces you to confront the fragility of identity itself, the real dangers of that kind of suffocating overprotection, and how the digital world, with its promise of anonymity and control, it can become this dangerous amplifier for our darkest impulses, especially if someone lacks the emotional maturity, the grounding in reality to handle it.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. It was a difficult one. If you found this story as disturbing and compelling as we did, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe to Horror Docs. We explore more true crime stories that really get into the darker aspects of human behavior. Take care of yourselves out there, and we'll see you next time.